welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. Today I had a completely different idea for this video, but it did not go as planned. I was going to film a kind of prep for Thanksgiving with me. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and I kind of wanted to do a day in the life, but then, you know, life happened really fast today. So I ended up having to run down to the vet office today. And we've been having some issues with our bearded dragon. We had issues with our bearded dragon a couple of months ago, and then he was doing fantastic, and now he's showing those signs of having issues again. So I wanted to rush down there and get some tests done before they close down for Thanksgiving. So that kind of got in the way, but then I got back and anyway, the day just got away from me. So what this video is gonna end up being, long intro, is just me making some desserts ahead of time. These are the desserts that we have pretty much every year. I did add in a new one this year though, but we've already had it and it tastes really good, and everybody said, yeah, add it to the menu. So we are gonna be making cranberry orange shortbread cookies, pecan pie or pecan pie. I love the Pioneer Woman's recipe for pecan pie. It is the best pecan pie I've ever made or tasted. If you have one that you feel is like, oh, it tops that, send it to me. I will try it, and I would love to compare them, but Pioneer Woman knows what she's doing. And then I'm going to be making creamy pumpkin pie. Fun fact about me and my family, we don't really like normal, like regular pumpkin pie. We like kind of, it's almost like pumpkin pie fluff in a pie crust. So I make a creamy pumpkin pie. It's really good, really yummy, and really light. And then I'm also going to be making peanut butter kiss cookies. Now this is something that I have been making every year with, you okay? Every year without fail. And if I say I'm not gonna make them, people get upset. So these cookies I make every single year. Now, to go with these desserts, my daughter Bella, she made a pumpkin roll. It's already chilling in the refrigerator. And my sister always brings Rice Krispie treats. So we have a lot of sweets. And then I still have a cherry pie that's in the freezer. I have not perfected the cherry pie recipe or a cherry pie recipe, so I'm not confident enough in my cherry pie recipe to actually serve it on Thanksgiving. It just, my cherry pie never comes out good. My apple pie never comes out good. So if you have a recipe for a really good cherry pie, please send it to me. I would love to try it. But let's just get started. I have a lot of baking to do. The ingredients for the first recipe: you need flour, sugar, dried cranberries, butter, almond extract, and an orange, because you need the juice and the zest. I like to start this recipe off in the food processor. I'm just adding 1/4 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, and then I'm just going to pulse it. Now I pulse these until these are chopped up pretty small, because I like to have small pieces of cranberry throughout the whole cookie, and for me it's just easier to use the food processor. It's nice and simple. So now I am adding in the rest of the sugar and 2.5 cups of flour. So to this, I'm going to go ahead and dice or chop up 1 cup of cold butter, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a pastry cutter to really just get it all mixed in until we have fine crumbs. Now that I have this the consistency that I would like, I am zesting an entire orange. This orange was really large. It was hard for me to zest it. It was so big and it was hard for me to hold on to. But I went ahead and I zested this whole orange, and I'm going to add all of that zest into this dough. And then I'm also going to juice this orange as well. So I wanted just a couple of tablespoons of juice. I just ended up adding all of it, but you know, it was fine. It worked out. It was fine. So now I'm adding the cranberries with the sugar and the orange juice. And this is where you have to be careful. I'm using almond extract. I actually used a little less than what the recipe called for because it is very strong. So yeah, I used just under a teaspoon. And this dough is very dry. So you really have to work it with your hands to get it to form. And then once it does start to form, you want to put it into a log and then wrap it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it for about 2 hours. You can refrigerate this dough up to 72 hours, but today, because, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, I'm only refrigerating this for 2 hours today because I want to get this done. Next recipe is pecan pie. You need white sugar, pecans, brown sugar, which I'm going to have to make some, butter, eggs, a pie crust. I'm cheating and doing these frozen deep dish pie crusts. Some, what is this? Corn syrup, vanilla, and salt. So every time I'm going to make pecan pie, my youngest Lydia likes to help me. She loves helping me make this pie. She gets to chop all of the pecans for me. This is 1 cup of pecans. She is using those safety gloves because I just don't want her to, slice her little fingers. But I feel that the pie always comes out so much better when she helps me. So I'm really grateful that she takes the time to help her mom make this pie every Thanksgiving and Christmas. So while she's chopping this up, I am actually in the back making brown sugar because I didn't have any ready. I used to be extremely intimidated by a homemade pecan pie recipe. I thought that it would be really challenging and hard, but it really wasn't. It is just 1 cup of white sugar, a fourth a cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of corn syrup if I could ever get the bottle open, 3 eggs, and you just mix all of that up until it's nice and smooth. And once that is nice and smooth, you are going to mix in some melted butter. I believe this was 1/3 cup of melted butter. I'm also going to add a half a teaspoon of salt and 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that's all you really have to do other than just assembling it, which is putting pecans in a pie crust and dumping that liquid mixture in there. So it's actually really not hard at all, and this pie is really, really tasty. Ta-da! We made 2. So I make 2 every year because we enjoy this pie so much. And also if there is any left over, it does freeze really well. I'm going to just cover these with foil, bake them for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. And then I'm going to remove the foil and bake it for another 30 minutes or until it's not jiggly anymore. Next recipe is creamy pumpkin pie. You need graham crackers for the crust, butter for the crust, and sugar for the crust. And then we have whipped topping, there we go, canned pumpkin, pumpkin pie spice, the pudding, and that's like the big pack of pudding, instant pudding, and milk. So I'm just starting off by turning the graham crackers into crumbs and mixing it with a little sugar and some melted butter until it's a really good consistency. And then I'm just going to go ahead and shape this pie crust. So I'm not going to lie, this pie crust for some reason was giving me a really hard time today. If you don't want to make your own pie crust, you can just buy a graham cracker pre-made pie crust. I did that for years. I just think that the fresh graham crackers and melted butter just taste so much better. And, you know, that's why I'm taking the time and struggling with this pie crust today. But after I'm done making that, I'm going to go ahead and make the filling. The filling is really easy. This is the simplest of the recipes that I'm making today. And all it is a half a cup of cold milk, 1 pack of vanilla instant pudding, a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and you just mix all of that up until it's like a really good, I meant blended. Mixed together is what I meant. And then you're going to add 1 cup of canned pumpkin. Now here this canned pumpkin was already open because my daughter used some for her pumpkin roll. And I was really trying to stretch it. I didn't want to open another can if I didn't have to, but it takes 1 cup of canned pumpkin. And then all I'm going to do is mix this up and then fold in 2.5 cups of whipped topping. So I was measuring it at first and then I was like, yeah, forget it. I put the whole tub in and it came out delicious. I mean, nobody's going to complain about more whipped topping. So then you just mix all this up until it's like well combined, blended together, I guess you can say. And then all you're going to do is put this into the pie crust and refrigerate it. And that is it. A super simple, quick dessert. And it's just really scrumptious. So now that the pecan pies are finally done, I set the oven temperature to 325 degrees so that I can bake these shortbread cookies. At first I thought that this cookie dough was like messed up, but it wasn't. It turned out fine. They started to crumble when I sliced them, but once I got a little bit more in the center, I guess you can say, they stopped crumbling. But I'm just putting this on a parchment lined baking sheet and I'm going to bake these at 325 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, so for the peanut butter kiss cookies, our last recipe, we need white sugar, flour, baking soda. Back here is brown sugar, little chocolate kiss things, vanilla, what is this called? Salt, eggs, milk, peanut butter, and shortening. So these cookies aren't hard. It's just there's a couple of steps that you have to take. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cream some of the ingredients together. I'm creaming together a cup of white sugar and a cup of shortening. And then I'm going to add in a cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to add in a cup of peanut butter. And I'm just going to cream these together until they're nice and smooth. So now I'm going to add in 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of milk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So now that that's nice and creamy, I'm going to go ahead and add in 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And I made a huge mess while I was making these cookies. So I just sprinkled some sugar on my cutting board and I'm rolling these cookies up into a ball and then rolling them in the sugar. And I'm just placing them on a silicone, what is that called? Cookie sheet. On a silicone mat on a cookie sheet. And I'm going to bake these cookies at 375 degrees for 8 minutes. And then I have to pull them out and do the next step. So now that these have baked for about 8 minutes, I'm going to just add the Hershey Kiss right on top. And then I'm going to bake these for an additional 3 minutes. And then all you do is let them cool on the rack. So here's everything all done. I have our creamy pumpkin pie, our cranberry shortbread cookies, our peanut butter kiss cookies, and our pecan pies. This video is not what I originally intended it to be. I wanted to do a day in the life, but I am just really glad that I got to get all of these treats made up before tomorrow. I also wanted to say I am so thankful for each and every one of you that watches my videos, that like my videos, that comment, that have subscribed to my channel. I appreciate and I am thankful for each and every one of you. I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.